Today on Caliber 50 Customs. Hello everybody, welcome back to the range. Tom here, and today we're doing a 1933 Ford Roadster. One of my favorite castings. I thought it was cool when I picked it up, so let's head on down to the range and get started. You know, when I picked this casting up at a flea market a few weeks ago, I was like, I already knew what I wanted to do with it. I knew I wanted to throw some big old tires on the back, some smalls on the front, definitely give it a paint job. So let's go ahead and start field stripping it and see what all we come up with. And I had a little problem when I was drilling this out. Kind of messed up the hole when I was drilling the post out. And when I was trying to remove the base, ended up snapping the base, and I was, oh man, was I ticked off. Not anybody particular, but myself, because I couldn't believe I did that. It's the first time I've ever snapped the base off and broke it. But you know, that's all right. It was an easy base to replace and to fix. You know, I ended up making my own base for it, and it looks good. It really does. It fit perfectly with it. And I didn't really have to do a lot of modifications to this, because I didn't really do a lot as it was. Just a wheel swap, paint job, and just kind of added some side exhaust and a little intake on the top. And I was testing airbrushing with this casting, and you know, it wasn't my first vehicle I airbrushed. I've done a couple already, and you know, it turned out pretty good. It was a little different because I didn't have no clear. I had matte clear paint, clear coat. Sorry about that. I had to think about it for a minute, and it just kind of gave it an old rustic look when I was done. I thought it was pretty neat though. But, you know, as I said before, you know, I broke the rear part of the base off. So what I'm doing though is I'm just taking the actual base that was on it, outlining it, and what I did was I just glued it onto the front part for the base for the front wheels. And I'm kind of glad I went that route because it ended up looking pretty smooth. And it took me a few tries, you know, just to get it just right. And, you know, I had to drill a hole so everything would snap into place and, you know, smooth it out so, you know, you couldn't tell. And luckily enough, I got plenty of extra scrap styrene laying around, so I didn't have to worry about, you know, trying to find, you know, a piece of styrene out of nowhere. You know, I even bought brand new sheets a few weeks back just to make sure, you know, I had some thicker stuff. But what I wanted to go with was about the same thickness as the actual base. And you see me cutting up another piece of styrene because I made the first base of it too short. Yeah, I kind of made it a little too short for when I put it in and snapped it together. And you know, I didn't put screws into this one because I didn't think I was going to keep it together. If anything, I was just going to glue it on there and just leave it as it was. because it ended up actually looking pretty cool when I got done with it. And luckily enough, I had to file down these little pegs, little small little like nipples on it. Yeah, I know, nipples, whatever. But I had to file them down just to get the tube styrene I was using for an axle tube for the back wheels. Had to file those down just so they'd fit. And it came together. I was really pleased with it. Once I got it into the paint stripper, that's when I started, coming up with a different way to make exhaust. And I think I found another way to do it, other than the original way. It was an easier way. They look better, and honestly, it made sense. And you'll see here in a little bit on how I did it. But right now, I'm just cutting a piece of, tube styrene to make sure, it fits and everything goes well. And I was kind of really happy that, I got the wheels on straight, because that was my biggest thing, is I worried about, having the wheels on, crooked or something, But it rolls real nice. I was really impressed by how good it rolled. And it just looks mean. Like, I was really happy with the way it looked. And the hardest part was the windshield. Getting the windshield to fit back in there. It was so small, I had to snip a little pieces off of there. But it went in, no problem. And here it is out of the stripper, and I'm working on the exhaust. So I took some tube styrene with the holes in it. And then I took solid tube styrene. And what I did was I just kind of cut little pieces and stuck them in to the other styrene and kind of made it look like exhaust headers. And I cut them down to size, and when I cut them, I glued them together side by side, so I had even spacing. I was able to get it the way I wanted it. And I think the next time I do exhaust, I'm gonna do the exact same way, except you never know with me, because I do my exhaust different ways depending on the vehicle I'm working on. And, this car was just a little small, so I couldn't do what I wanted to do with it. I was actually going to cut out part of the hood and make it look like the exhaust were coming out of the side of the casting, but I just couldn't do it. It was just too small, and it wouldn't have sat right on the, base of it.
If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for further notification.
But the next time I do a build like this, I'm probably going to try to do roughly about the same thing. The same setup of how I did the exhaust, just do them a little different, probably bend them a little bit, maybe actually put them on the side of the engine or something. I don't know yet. It all depends on what I end up doing for my next build. And right now I'm doing a commission build for a buddy of mine, and it's a big time muscle Mustang. So I'm trying something a little bit different with the airbrushing. I'm trying two-tone paint, and I actually love how it turned out. And you see me drilling a hole at the top because the intake portion of it just had a tube, and I was like, I don't feel like cutting the hood off. So I just drilled a hole and just put it right in there. And, it ended up sitting flush, and it looked pretty cool. So I was like, I don't want to waste a lot of time cutting this casting up, because it would have just took too long, and there would have been nothing left of the casting when I got done with it. And you see I'm putting the side pipes, the pipes on the side, and I'm kind of going off of that, the way I'm going to build the pipes, and that's kind of how I'm probably going to end up doing it. I'm just going to be building the 4 pieces, and then taking the solid tube styrene and just molding it and bending it to how I want to make it to where it'll go well with the car. And I'm taking a pick and walling out the holes a little bit, just so the solid styrene would actually, fit in there and glued it together. And that's pretty much the way I was gonna go with it. Like, I had to glue it together and then glue the pieces in after I got them, molded up or, angled the way I wanted it. So, I love making exhaust, and most people, see most of my builds that I actually make the exhaust, because I hate using other things. I like actually building them from scratch. And sometimes I'll use another casting's exhaust. I've done that before on a couple of hot rods that I built. And, it just, I feel better when I build the stuff myself. And it was so much easier, and it looks so much better than what I thought it was gonna do. So I couldn't have complained too much. It looked mean. It looked a lot meaner, with the big old slick tires on the back. The hardest part was trying to find some small enough wheels that matched the rear wheels I put on there. Because the rear wheels I got on there, I got off of one of those ground pounder cars. I don't remember what car it was, but I got it from one of them. And I took them off, and, the one thing I hate about the ground pounders is, you can't really do a lot with those, because they have no interior. And honestly, I like making the interiors too. I've been, so caught up into trying to get my hand brushing, and now I got airbrushing stuff, which I'm probably not going to do rattle can for a while, at least until I get my airbrush back up and going, because I guess it got clogged or something, because it's not working now. So I got to figure out what's going on with it. I'm cleaning it out and, doing what I can to fix it. But, I'm going to go through it. I already know how to take it apart and put it back together. I got parts of it soaking in airbrush cleaner, just kind of getting the gunk out of it. Works, because I really don't want to have to go out and buy a new airbrush. Here I finally am, where you guys can actually see me painting my castings. And what I'm doing is I'm putting a white sealer on it, because the paint I mixed up, I mixed it all kinds of different colors to try to brighten it up, and it was, I don't remember if it was a transparent or a pearl color, but it looked like a rustic orange when I got done with it. And that's one thing is I've been doing is I've been mixing different colors just to see what I come up with. I bought extra little tubes to put everything in, and here's that rustic color orange. That's all I can really think of it is a rustic orange, and it's mixed paints is what it is. And it went on really good. I was actually surprised. I had everything measured out with the reducer, and I wanted to make sure everything was right on the money, and it says to add 10% reducer to whatever volume. So, I've been mixing it up, and those of you who've been on my Instagram seen that charger I did, that green was actually a mixture of a transparent green, another green. Going back to what we started off with, 1933 Ford Roadster, not a bad casting. I know a lot of people have always seen them in black and red, and I had to get rid of those tires. I did not like those wheels, so I couldn't wait to get rid of those. So without further ado, see ya next time at the range.